Since I passed my exam this year, I have been getting a lot of messages about AMC MCQ preparation methods, the study materials that I used, and how I prepared. So I thought about making a short video to help AMC candidates who are looking for guidance. The topics that I will be covering in this video are the resources that I used, how to use them, do I really need John Murtagh for this exam or not? Do I need to study the theory again? Is Academy really needed or not? And how much time do you need to give for this exam? The resources that I personally used were Blue Book or Handbook of Multiple Choice Questions, Amedex, Australian Guidelines, Kaplan for Psychiatry, and Conrad Fisher's 100 Cases for Ethics. One thing that I forgot to mention here is the recalls, and I will talk about recalls as well in the upcoming slides. This is the Handbook of Multiple Choice Questions. This book has been used by the AMC candidates for many years. It is a bit outdated, but it's still a good book to start your preparation with. This book gives you an idea of what kind of questions you'll be getting in the exam and why the answer is A or B or C. So it gives you a good idea on what type of MCQs you'll be getting, the topics that will be coming in the exam. So what you can do is you can solve the MCQs, read the explanation and note down the topics. And by the end of this book, you'll have a list of topics that you can later study on your own, and you can check the guidelines for an updated management plan. After finishing the Blue Book, I started solving Amedex MCQs. Amedex is an online MCQ bank which you can subscribe for 3 months or 6 months, but you can also customize your plan according to your own schedule. So I used to solve the MCQs system-wise, like cardiovascular, GIT, respiratory, or pediatrics. And the answers given in this MCQ bank is really good. I think it covers your theoretical part as well. And the references to the main websites are also given, so you get a good idea of where is this guideline written. So you can check this MCQ bank as well. There's another MCQ bank called M+X. I did not use that one, but if you want to try that one as well, I think there's a free trial. You can get the free trial, or you can ask anyone who's used that MCQ bank and you can compare both. But I personally used Amedex and I thought it really helped. Australian guidelines. So for treating different conditions, there are different guidelines here in Australia. You can search those guidelines by typing the name of the topic and writing Australian guidelines in front of it. And you need to know these guidelines to pass this exam, because this is the main thing that this exam tests you on. The guidelines that I used mostly were RACGP guidelines, Australian Journal of General Practice guidelines, Royal Children's Hospital guidelines for pediatrics, South Australian guidelines for gynae and obs. And when you search, make sure you study the updated versions, because some of the guidelines change very frequently. So you need to stay updated, and whenever the question comes, it will test you on the updated version of these guidelines. So you can make notes for different sections and systems, and you can write the updated guidelines in those notes, and you can later on just study them whenever the exam is near. John Murtagh, to study or not to study? So when I started my own preparation, I studied this book for a day or two. I studied a few topics which were well written, but the information were really scattered. The diagrams were nice, but it was hard for me to recall anything from this book. So that's when I decided not to keep studying this book, and instead I used to check online guidelines for any references. So I would suggest you to check the PDF version and not straight away buy this book, not for AMC MCQ exam, But it's a really good book if you need to clear your doubts and if you need to study a topic based on Australian guidelines. Do I need to go through the theory again? So, a lot of people ask me this question, and I always say that only you can assess yourself and only you can tell whether or not you need to go through the theory again. And if you start solving MCQs and if you start reading the answers correctly, you will get an idea of how much knowledge you already have regarding that specific topic and whether or not you need to study that topic in detail. And if you have a lot of time and if it has been a lot of years since you graduated, you might want to study the theory again to be able to solve these MCQs. And an alternative would be watching good YouTube videos where people explain the pathophysiology, the management, the investigation. So you need to assess yourself and you need to check how much time you have and whether or not you can give a lot of time to the theory and later on do the MCQs. So you can start solving the Blue Book MCQs or the free trials from Amedex or M+X, and only then you can tell how much knowledge you already have and how much more you need to acquire. How much time do I need? So this question can be answered by the candidate himself or herself because it all depends on how many hours per day you can dedicate for your studies. If you have a job or if you have other responsibilities, or if you think you need to study the theory in detail, then you might want to give this exam a bit more time. But if you're not working, if you can study for 6 to 7 hours or more in a day, then you can pass this exam in 3 to 4 months. There are certain academies that help you prepare for this exam. I personally did not join one as I thought I could do it on my own, and I did it. But if you need further assistance or guidance, you can check these academies out. Another important thing that I forgot to mention in this video is the importance of recalls. Recalls are really important to get an idea about different topics and different kind of MCQs that AMC is testing candidates these days. So you can check the previous maybe 6 to 7 months of recalls to assess your preparation. That's it for this video. I hope it helps a lot of students out there, and I hope you all pass. Good luck.